Hello, LEGO fans. Bricks Unbound here, back finally with a new Building Hogwarts update. As you probably saw in the previous room tour, Hogwarts has more space now. I was able to give it another full table of depth for most of the castle, so another roughly 23.5 inches of depth. And then for width, it has another 12 to 15 or so inches, which the width isn't a whole lot, but it does give me enough room to do a few things. The depth, though, is much more exciting because parts of the castle that before I was just going to have to leave out, I can now include in the layout. So let's take a walk around here. But first, I do want to thank everyone who watched the last video and had suggestions on how to improve the video quality, because it was admittedly not high quality. It was very poor lighting, for one thing, so I've tried to mitigate that a little bit with some new brighter lights in the room. And then the just recording quality was low because the handheld camcorder I've been using for all of my videos up to this point is pushing at least 10 years old at this point. So it was definitely rough. So I do appreciate the feedback there and have taken that into account. Got new lights, have a actually brand new phone. I had that on my list of things to acquire this summer anyway, so figured I might as well do that. And then for right now, I'm going to use that for filming videos. So thanks again to those people who made the suggestions and to everybody else who watched the previous video. But now let's take a walk around Hogwarts here, and we'll be able to see a lot of extra space that I've gained. One spot it's apparent is actually right here. Previously, the edge of this, what I'm calling the viaduct entrance hall, was all the way up to the edge of the table, so you can see there's quite a few inches of extra space there. Or it was nearly to the edge. You might have had an inch or two. And then over here, right now, my current mock of the boathouse is sitting here. It is overscaled, oversized for what I actually need to fit to this layout, so I will have to shrink that down a little bit, maybe 2/3 the size, maybe even half the size, just because as it is right now, even when I elevate the entrance courtyard up on rockwork, this would still be towering over it. So I just need to shrink it down so it doesn't look quite as out of proportion. It is minifigure scale, as is the rest of Hogwarts, but the rocks on the actual model of this thing go way higher up than I'm going to be able to fit in this room without having to, like rip out the ceiling of the room, because as it is, some of these towers, especially the astronomy tower, are getting awfully close to the ceiling right now before it's even elevated. So I can't have rockwork that is almost as tall as all of Hogwarts underneath here. It's just not going to work. So the boathouse has to be shrunk down to not look funny and out of scale. Continuing down here, this corner also is exactly like it was previously, meaning that before, the Great Hall was sitting up on top of these rocks, and there was just this little area of water. But now, what I'm going to be able to do is move that rockwork back. Hopefully I can keep it mostly intact. It's not done, so if it does fall apart, it's fine. But I would rather not have to rebuild all of it. Or hopefully I can just pry up the plates it's sitting on and move it back. What is that? Probably 32 studs or so. Have additional space up here where the Durmstrang ship can sit. This is the official set from, I think that just came out here at the beginning of the month of June. And if you haven't got this set, highly recommended. I do think it's a little overpriced for sure, so if you can wait for a sale, probably do that. But the building techniques to get some of these strange angles on it were actually quite impressive. So it was a very fun thing to put together. Oh yes, you can see right over there is my casualty of moving. Those are pieces from the roof of the Grand Staircase Tower. I tilted it too far and the top just fell off and smashed into pieces. Luckily it wasn't a completed version or anything. We're going to keep walking around here. And overall on this end of the table, there's going to be a ton more water space for the lake, which is fine. I don't necessarily know what all I'm gonna put here. I've got this sitting here, which you probably recognize from the films. So a tomb that'll be on an island. I think that's probably just going to be in this corner here. But then behind here, there will be rock work, of course, that goes all the way around about out this far and down here. But I'm still going to have a lot of space for water here. So I'll probably put like the second task for the Triwizard Tournament here. Of course, it's just going to be the like wooden, I don't want to say scaffolding, but the wooden platforms that they stand on to watch it. I'm not really going to be able to have a underwater scene with the merfolk. At least I haven't figured out a way to do that without dropping tables down lower or something. But that'll probably at least be part of the way here, and then I figure I'll have a giant squid tentacle or a few sticking up from someplace in here that I can probably move around. But there'll be a bunch of space for water here. I really like the Durmstrang ship, so I do think I'll keep that in front of the castle. It gives a nice little pop of color and something that isn't just tan walls. So I think that's going to be a pretty good spot for it once I get the rest of the water filled in. And we'll take a look at this as we walk around the back, but this is where most of that extra space is at, because previously it was essentially right here that the table's cut off, so I've gained well over 15 inches on the back side as well. I guess the other thing, while we were back there, that I should have pointed out, is I think I'm going to change how the tasks for the end of the Sorcerer's Stone or the challenges, how they're arranged. Before they were running this way, so it would be like the Devil's Snare, Winged Keys, Chessboard, etc. coming this direction. The problem is that's only about a 13 or 14 inch walkway behind here. So if I continued having them face the back wall, you just wouldn't really be able to see them. So I think they're going to go along here underneath the Grand Staircase Tower also, once it gets lifted up, and this wing here of the quad courtyard. So I'm going to have them underneath there, and the rock work that I'm building up here is going to be more of like a facade with just big ugly rock pieces almost that I can just slide out, so then we can look inside and see the challenges there. That's why they're just sitting here, not in any kind of final form, but just sitting here to help me remember that and to show you guys the example of what's going to be there. Now we'll actually move down towards the other end of the castle here. This stuff is exactly how it has been. The front of the quad courtyard, or the front of the quad, the courtyard will be back behind it. Viaduct entrance hall here. Then our library section with the Ravenclaw Tower sticking out of the middle of that. Back behind there, the astronomy tower, which is still potentially my favorite part of the build. I really like this end of the castle, probably because it's the closest to being done, I guess. It looks the most complete, at least. I am also planning, similar to how I'm planning it with the boathouse, and shrinking down the size of this greenhouse. It's just too big. I was looking into it the other day because I accidentally busted off one of the sides as I was moving stuff around. Luckily, these are just held in by gravity, so it was easy to reapply. But it's actually just too big for what I need. And I would like to be able to fit a couple of them right here, and then here and here. So if I could fit approximately 4 in this space instead of one giant one, I think it would just look better. Look better in proportion to the castle as well. Around this side, I've got a lot more space here, as well as a few more studs here, because there is actually a wall that starts about here at the library. It comes out a little bit, and then it just has a wall that runs along this side of the castle. Give it a little bit of, I guess, fortification or more castle look, and make it a little bit more enclosed here. So I'm going to have room to do that now. It's not a very thick wall, maybe only 4 studs or so will be plenty. But that'll be nice to kind of help frame things up here. And then roughly in front of these doors at this end of the long gallery, there is another greenhouse type thing. It actually looks kind of like the Friends greenhouse from, was that last year? That kind of design. with a domed roof on it. So I'll probably get one of those sets and steal the parts and try to use them, maybe 2 of those sets, and combine them and use the parts to make a nice little Hogwarts greenhouse that's in that shape here that intercepts this wall, kind of breaks it up. And there's more sections of wall and castle around here, which I'll be able to include now, which is pretty exciting. Sorry for the lighting here. I'm blocking the only light behind me. I've done a little bit of work here, just trying to figure out the height mainly of these side walls, because I want it to be roughly equivalent with the section of roof there, roughly the same height as this. This courtyard is the same. I am so thankful, though, that when I was moving things, I did not destroy the astronomy tower. It's very heavy because it's, I think, almost 4 feet tall, if I remember right. It's like 47, 48 inches. So I was very worried I was going to tip that a little too far. I can see where some things aren't quite lined up on it. I shouldn't mess with it, though, with only one hand with this video. But along here, this walkway, there is another corner tower here. There's basically a smaller, planar version of the bell towers. So I'll hopefully get that put together before too long so I can see what that'll look like here. That'll really help enclose this courtyard. Then these dark bluish plates here, those represent another section that is essentially the same as this hallway section that goes along this side of the courtyard to help enclose it. And then there's a building here as well that I think is going to be approximately this size. So this is 48 studs by 32 studs. I have no idea what I'm going to put in that building, but I do want to make sure I include it. And we are at the part where I have a lot of open space here now, which is great because the quad courtyard I'll be able to actually have. That's what these sand green base plates, or not base plates, these sand green 16 by 16 plates are representing. That'll be approximately the size of that. There'll be a section of the quad, like actual building of the castle, that comes out this way and it goes along the back and then goes back up here into the side of the grand staircase tower. Unfortunately, this is still not deep enough to keep going this way, because on this section of the quad, in this corner over here is where the divination tower is, or the north tower. And then we've got the Gryffindor tower is in this corner here. Those I'll be able to at least do half of, and they'll probably have open backs. But I'm not going to be able to fit the clock tower in, because from this section, there's a little bridge that goes over, essentially from where the hospital wing's at, that connects into the clock tower. And there's a wall here, so I can't add another table. So it'll be kind of a cross section right along here at the edge of the table, where you'll be able to see the corridors that are on this end. And then maybe that'll actually be nice, because then you'll be able to see like into half of a Gryffindor common room and the divination classroom and things. So it's not the worst thing ever, because then you'll have some visibility without having to open things up. But the things on the castle that do already open up do still work fine. This is where you're not really be able to see anything, but that's where the troll is. I haven't picked up the new Hogwarts, is it just called the Great Hall? I can't even remember, but the set that just came out in June, I haven't picked that up yet to get the actual molded version of the troll, so it's still just my brick built one. But that'll be what is here, and as we already talked about, the Sorcerer's Stone challenges will run along this way now, so you'll be able to see them from the other side of the table. So this Fluffy is going to have to appear in the corridor, I guess underneath approximately where the divination tower will be, because I want Fluffy's trapdoor to drop you right into the devil's snare. So Fluffy will be approximately here when he gets moved out. And then there's this big open section here, which, look, it's an owlery. This is just the official owlery set from this year. Sitting here to represent, that's approximately where I'm going to put my mock of the owlery once I get it built. It'll be here. And then on this section here, we have one bridge already that goes from this, I think it's just called the Stone Tower, across to one of the Viaduct Entrance Hall towers. But there is actually a second bridge on the actual model. It's more of a suspension bridge type thing that continues across the chasm that will be here. And it connects, I think, technically, if I had everything angled correctly, it would connect actually to this building. I'm not going to have it be that long though, because that would just be a ridiculously long bridge and look a little funny. So I'm thinking suspension bridge will start against this wall of the castle. It'll go across the chasm to about here or so. And then there'll just be like a walkway that leads up a even more elevated hill to get to the owlery, and then a little bit more of a walkway to get to this building here, as well as it branches off and goes over to the astronomy tower, just up this way. And I think that'll work fine. It'll be a fairly empty area, but I think once I get the hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, underneath the owlery built and this building built, I don't think it'll look quite as strange, as well as some more rock work and things put up underneath these buildings. I guess I kind of skipped over it, but this corner here, with all of its just beauty at the moment of the halfway constructed Mills plate, I think I'm going to put the flying lesson right here in this corner. It'll be nice to have something that's not super tall here, so if I walk around here, I'm not going to accidentally knock something over as I go around the corner. But yes, that is the plan here. So got a lot of building ahead of me. I'm very excited though to have all this extra space on the backside of the castle to just fit more stuff. I have a lot of work to do as far as elevating parts of the castle. I need a bunch more plate as well to cover up these exposed Mills plates here and be able to start piecing out where the rocks are going to go, where the various chasms are going to be. It'll be fun though to actually get a little bit more elevation going here again, since I was partway through it and then discovered I'd be getting a different Lego room, so then I had to just kind of pause on it while I figured out spacing for everything. But that'll about do it here for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Hopefully my rambling hasn't gone too far off track. But I'm really looking forward to actually being able to get back to building Hogwarts again, to having all of this additional space previously. And just please keep coming back for more videos, and thank you for watching.